The more you need others to validate you, the less power you have over your own life. The Taoists discovered this 2,500 years ago and built an entire philosophy around it. When you seek approval from others, you give them control over your happiness, your decisions, your sense of self-worth. You become a puppet dancing to their expectations. Taoist philosophy teaches something radically different. Your authority comes from within. Your validation comes from alignment with the Tao. Other people's opinions are just noise passing through the wind. This is the power of inner authority, not arrogance, not isolation, but a deep rootedness in something beyond social approval, a connection to the way that makes external validation irrelevant. Lao Tzu, the legendary author of the Tao Te Ching, likely lived around the 6th century BC. There's no historical proof he existed, but the text attributed to him is profoundly real. The Tao Te Ching is the second most translated book in human history after the Bible. Its 81 short chapters contain wisdom that has guided millions, and it says something shocking about seeking approval. Chapter 20 of the Tao Te Ching begins with Lao Tzu describing how different he is from other people. Everyone else is bright and cheerful. He alone seems dark and withdrawn. Other people seek recognition. They want to be seen, to be praised, to be validated by society. Lao Tzu says, "I alone drift like one without a home. I am different from others." This isn't depression. This isn't antisocial behavior. This is someone who has found inner authority and no longer needs external validation to know he's on the right path. The Tao Te Ching repeatedly emphasizes that the sage, the wise person, doesn't seek approval because the sage has found something more fundamental, connection to the Tao itself. Chapter 2 states, "The sage acts without claiming credit. He accomplishes without dwelling on it. He does not want his merits to be noticed, precisely because he doesn't seek recognition. His achievements are acknowledged." This is a paradox. When you desperately seek approval, people sense the desperation and withhold approval. When you genuinely don't need approval, people naturally respect you. Think about someone you know who constantly seeks validation. They post on social media, obsessively checking for likes. They change their opinions based on who's listening. They agree with whatever gets them accepted. How do you feel about that person? Probably not much respect. Not because they're bad, but because their desperation for approval signals they have no internal compass. They're controlled by others. Now think about someone who seems unmoved by social pressure. They hold their ground. They don't perform for approval. They don't change their behavior based on who's watching. They simply are themselves. You probably respect that person even if you disagree with them. Their independence signals strength. Their inner authority creates natural respect without them seeking it. This is what the Taoists understood. Seeking approval is a form of weakness, not moral weakness, but strategic weakness. You've given others power over you. You've made your peace dependent on their judgment. The Tao Te Ching teaches that the Tao itself doesn't seek approval. Chapter 34 says, "The Tao does great things yet takes no credit. It nourishes all things yet doesn't claim them as its own. Nature operates this way. The sun doesn't shine to be praised. The rain doesn't fall to be appreciated. Trees don't grow to impress observers. They simply do what they do according to their nature. This is Wu Wei, effortless action, action that flows from inner nature rather than external expectation. When you act from inner authority, you're aligned with how nature operates. This creates power. But modern life is built on approval seeking. Social media is designed to make you addicted to validation. Likes, comments, shares, followers. Every metric measures how much approval you're getting. You post a photo. You check obsessively for reactions. If you get lots of likes, you feel validated. If you get few likes, you feel rejected. Your emotional state is controlled by strangers' clicks. This is the opposite of inner authority. You've outsourced your self-worth to an algorithm and a crowd of people who don't know you and don't care about your actual well-being. The Taoists would see this as insanity. You're letting random people you've never met determine whether you feel good or bad about yourself. You've given away your power completely. Chapter 9 of the Tao Te Ching warns, fill your bowl to brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. The same applies to approval. Chase after approval and you'll never have enough. There's always someone who doesn't like you. There's always criticism. The approval seeking never ends. But if you stop seeking approval, something shifts. You start acting from your own center. You make decisions based on what aligns with your values, not what gets applause. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or ignoring others' needs. It means your actions come from internal wisdom rather than external pressure. You do what's right because it's right, not because it's praised. Zhuangzi, the other great Taoist philosopher, tells a story about a tree. There was a massive oak tree that carpenters would walk past without even looking at. It was useless for lumber. The tree appeared to one carpenter in a dream and said, I've been cultivating uselessness for a long time. I almost died several times, but finally achieved it. My uselessness is useful to me. Because the tree was useless for human purposes, no one cut it down. It lived for hundreds of years, providing shade and shelter, simply by being itself rather than trying to be useful to humans. This is a metaphor for seeking approval. When you try to be useful to everyone, when you shape yourself to meet others' expectations, you get used up. You lose yourself trying to be what others want. But when you're simply yourself, rooted in inner authority, you can't be used. You can't be manipulated. People who need you to be something you're not will leave. That's fine. They weren't for you anyway. The Taoists noticed something about society. Society needs to control people. It does this through shame, praise, social pressure, expectations. If you're controlled by these things, you're controllable. Governments, religions, corporations, even families, all social structures use approval and disapproval to shape behavior. Conform and you're praised. Deviate and you're shamed. This is how social control works. But if you develop inner authority, if you root yourself in the Tao rather than social approval, you become ungovernable, not lawless, but internally directed. You choose your path consciously. Chapter 13 of the Tao Te Ching says, favor and disgrace seem alarming, whether you go up or down the social ladder. It disturbs your vital spirit. The sage is wary of both praise and blame. This is crucial. The Taoists aren't just warning against seeking approval. They're warning against being moved by approval or disapproval. Both are traps. Both give others power over your internal state. If praise makes you happy, you'll fear criticism. If criticism makes you sad, you'll crave praise. Either way, you're controlled. Your emotions are puppeteered by others' judgments. Inner authority means remaining centered regardless of praise or blame. Someone praises you, you don't inflate. Someone criticizes you, you don't deflate. You remain aligned with your own center. This is harder than it sounds. We're biologically wired to care about social status. Humans evolved in small tribes where social acceptance meant survival. Rejection meant death. So seeking approval isn't bad or wrong. It's a survival instinct. The problem is modern society triggers this instinct constantly while making it impossible to satisfy. You can never get enough approval, to feel permanently safe. Social media shows you infinite people who might approve or disapprove. Your tribe was 150 people. Now your tribe is potentially billions. Your approval-seeking instinct goes haywire trying to please everyone. The Taoist solution isn't fighting this instinct. Fighting creates tension. The solution is redirecting your need for approval towards something stable. Instead of seeking approval from people, seek alignment with the Tao. The Tao doesn't change. The Tao doesn't judge. The Tao simply is. When you're aligned with the Tao, with the natural way of things, you don't need external validation because you feel internal rightness. How do you know if you're aligned with the Tao? It feels effortless. There's a flow. You're not forcing. You're not straining. You're not constantly anxious about whether you're doing it right. When you're approval seeking, there's constant anxiety. Did I say the right thing? Do they like me? Should I have done that differently? Am I good enough? The questions never stop. When you have inner authority, the anxiety drops. You act from your center. You trust your judgment. You don't need constant feedback because you have an internal compass guiding you. Chapter 33 of the Tao Te Ching says, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. This is inner authority. Most people spend their lives trying to figure out what others think of them. The Taoists say, forget others. Figure out yourself. Know your own nature. Align with your own truth. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback. Wise counsel is valuable, but there's a difference between considering input and seeking validation. One is gathering information. The other is outsourcing your self-worth. When someone criticizes you, inner authority allows you to ask, is this criticism accurate? Does it reflect something I need to improve? If yes, you adjust. If no, you discard it. Either way, you're not wounded. When you seek approval, criticism devastates you because it threatens your social standing, which you've made the basis of your worth. When you have inner authority, criticism is just information to evaluate. The Tao Te Ching repeatedly uses water as a metaphor for Taoist virtue. Water is soft, humble, flows to low places. Yet water overcomes everything hard and rigid through persistence. Water doesn't seek approval. Rivers don't ask permission to flow to the ocean. Water simply follows its nature. It flows downward, nourishes everything it touches, and eventually reaches the sea. This is natural authority. You have a nature too, not the personality you constructed to get approval. Your actual nature underneath the social performance. The Taoists call this your Ti, your inherent virtue or power. Your Ti is how you naturally are when you're not performing. It's your authentic tendencies, preferences, strengths. When you act from Ti, you act from inner authority. You're being yourself rather than being what others want. But most people never discover their Ti because they're too busy seeking approval. They've spent so long performing for others that they don't know who they actually are underneath the performance. This is why the Tao Te Ching emphasizes stillness, silence, withdrawal, not as permanent states, but as practices to reconnect with your authentic nature. When you're alone and quiet, the performance drops. You meet yourself. Chapter 16 says, empty yourself of everything. Let the mind rest at peace. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She remains centered in the circle of the way. This is the practice. Regularly disconnect from the approval-seeking world. Sit in silence. Don't perform. Don't imagine an audience. Just be in that stillness. You rediscover inner authority. With inner authority, your decisions change. You stop choosing based on what looks good to others. You start choosing based on what aligns with your actual values and nature. Maybe you realize you hate your career, but you're doing it because it impresses people. With inner authority, you can leave, not recklessly, but consciously. You choose alignment over approval. Maybe you realize certain friendships are based entirely on performance. You're not yourself around these people. You're playing a role to maintain their approval. With inner authority, you can release these connections. This is painful at first. Approval seeking creates your social world. When you stop performing, some relationships end. People who like the performance don't like the real you. This hurts, but what remains is real. The people who stay when you stop performing actually know you and like you. These relationships are nourishing rather than draining because you're not constantly managing your image. The Taoists understood that approval seeking is exhausting. You're performing constantly, monitoring others' reactions, adjusting your behavior, suppressing your actual thoughts and feelings. It's a full-time job. Inner authority is restful. You don't have to perform. You can just be. You say what you think. You do what feels right. You stop pretending. The energy you spend on performance is now available for living. Chapter 44 asks, fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? The sage knows the answer. The sage chooses integrity over fame, inner authority over external validation, authentic happiness over impressive success. These choices go against social pressure, but they lead to actual peace. Modern self-help often says, don't care what others think, just be yourself. This sounds like inner authority, but it's often just a different form of seeking approval from a different crowd. The self-help audience approves of not caring what others think. So you perform not caring to get their approval. You're still approval seeking, just with a different audience. This isn't inner authority. Real inner authority is quieter. You're not performing confidence. You're not announcing your independence. You simply act from your center without making a show of it. No performance, no audience. The Tao Te Ching says the sage accomplishes great things but doesn't dwell on them, doesn't post about them, doesn't need recognition. The accomplishment itself is complete. External validation is irrelevant. This is the ultimate form of inner authority. You do what you do because it's yours to do, not for praise, not for recognition, not to prove anything. You act from alignment with your nature and the Tao. When you reach this state, something remarkable happens. People naturally respect you, not because you're seeking respect, but because your independence from approval signals genuine strength. Paradoxically, when you stop seeking approval, you often receive more respect than when you were desperately seeking it, because people instinctively recognize inner authority. It's magnetic without trying to attract. But this can't be your goal. If you cultivate inner authority to get respect, you're still approval seeking. The goal must be inner peace, alignment with the Tao. Respect may follow, but it's not the point. The Taoists lived simply, withdrew from social competition, didn't seek office or fame. They looked like failures to ambitious people, but they had inner authority that ambitious people never find. Chapter 46 says, there is no greater misfortune than wanting more. There is no greater curse than being discontent. Satisfaction comes from knowing when enough is enough. This applies to approval too. You'll never get enough approval to feel permanently secure. The approval seeking never satisfies, but inner authority satisfies completely. You don't need more because you're rooted in something stable. This is the power of inner authority. Freedom from others' control. Peace regardless of praise or blame. Action from authentic nature rather than social performance. Alignment with the Tao rather than crowd opinion. Start practicing today. When you notice yourself seeking approval, checking social media repeatedly, adjusting behavior to impress others, suppressing authentic responses, pause. Notice what you're doing. Ask yourself, what would I do if no one was watching? What would I say if no one would judge? What would I choose if approval didn't matter? That answer is your inner authority speaking. The practice isn't eliminating all consideration of others. It's eliminating the desperate need for their approval. You can consider others' perspectives without needing their validation to feel okay about yourself. This is the Taoist way. Not rejecting society, but being unmoved by its pressures. Living in the world, but rooted in something beyond the world. Participating without performing. Acting without seeking credit. If you found this exploration of why Taoists never seek approval valuable and want more ancient wisdom from modern challenges, please subscribe, and share for more philosophical deep dives.